Understanding Adult Learning Theory, GAPE. Sarah arrived early for her second class, feeling much more confident than she had the week before. She had polished her presentation, updated her slides, and even rehearsed several stories she planned to share. As students entered the classroom, David quietly observed from the back. Within minutes, Sarah noticed something interesting. One student immediately began taking detailed notes. Another asked questions before class even started. One broker folded his arms and simply listened. Another student shared stories from her own transactions every chance she had. At the first break, Sarah smiled. "I think I have 4 completely different classes sitting in one room." David laughed. "You don't. You have one class full of adult learners." That simple observation explains one of the most important principles of becoming an exceptional instructor. Adults learn differently. Unlike children, adults don't come into the classroom expecting to simply absorb information because someone tells them it's important. Adult learners want to understand why something matters and how they can immediately apply it. Think about the students who attend your real estate classes. Some have decades of business experience. Others are beginning an entirely new career. Some attend because they're excited to learn. Others are there because renewing their license requires continuing education. Regardless of their background, every adult learner brings valuable life experiences into the classroom. Great instructors recognize those experiences instead of competing with them. Understanding GAPE, the generally accepted principles of education, GAPE, provide a framework for creating learning environments where adult students actively participate instead of simply listening. Rather than viewing students as passive recipients of information, GAPE encourages instructors to involve learners through discussion, practical examples, questions, problem solving, and real-world application. In other words, learning becomes something students do, not something that simply happens to them. When students actively participate, they are much more likely to remember and apply what they have learned long after class has ended. Experience is one of your greatest teaching tools. During class, Sarah explained agency relationships using the textbook definition. The room was quiet. David encouraged her to try something different. She asked, "Has anyone ever experienced a situation where agency became confusing during a transaction?" Immediately, hands went up across the classroom. Within minutes, students were sharing actual situations involving dual agency, designated agency, and client expectations. The discussion became one of the most engaging parts of the day, because adults naturally connect new information to experiences they've already had. As an instructor, one of your greatest resources isn't your PowerPoint. It's the collective experience sitting in front of you. Motivation looks different for every student. Not every student attends class for the same reason. A newly licensed salesperson may be eager to build confidence. A seasoned broker may be looking for practical ideas to improve their business. An experienced instructor may simply want to become more engaging in the classroom. Recognizing these different motivations helps instructors present information in ways that connect with everyone. Here's what experienced educators understand. When students see personal value in the lesson, attention naturally increases. Removing barriers to learning. Every classroom includes obstacles that can interfere with learning. Some students are distracted by work or family responsibilities. Others may feel intimidated by legal terminology or worry about asking questions in front of their peers. Some simply learn at a different pace. Great instructors create an environment where students feel comfortable participating without fear of making mistakes. Simple techniques, asking open-ended questions, encouraging discussion, explaining concepts in plain language, and using practical Arizona examples can dramatically improve understanding. Active learning creates lasting learning. Think about the classes you've attended over the years. Which ones do you remember? Most people don't remember the instructor who read every slide word for word. They remember the instructor who involved them. Instead of telling students how an agency relationship works, ask them to identify the agency relationships in a sample transaction. Instead of explaining disclosure requirements, present a real-world scenario and ask, "What would you do?" Participation transforms information into understanding. That's why active learning consistently produces stronger learning outcomes than passive lectures alone. Instructor tip: every 10 to 15 minutes, change the pace of your presentation. Ask a question, tell a story, introduce a case study, or invite students to solve a problem together. Small changes in delivery help maintain attention and significantly improve knowledge retention. Building the foundation for every future lesson. As class ended, Sarah reflected on the day's discussions. "I talked less today," she admitted. David smiled, "and your students learned more." She finally understood that effective teaching isn't measured by how much an instructor says. It's measured by how much students discover, discuss, remember, and apply. Understanding how adults learn is the foundation of every successful classroom. As we continue through this course, you'll build on these principles by exploring different learning styles and teaching strategies that help every student succeed. Online discussion question 1. Why do adults learn differently than children? And how should that influence your teaching style? Answer. Adult learners bring life experiences, professional backgrounds, and personal goals into the classroom. Effective instructors recognize those experiences by encouraging discussion, connecting lessons to real-world situations, and explaining why the material is relevant and immediately applicable. Question 2. How can an instructor use students' experiences to improve learning? Students' experiences provide valuable teaching opportunities. Encouraging them to share examples, discuss challenges, and relate concepts to actual transactions helps reinforce learning while allowing classmates to benefit from different perspectives. Question 3. What are some barriers that may prevent adult learners from fully engaging in class, and how can instructors overcome them? Answer. Common barriers include distractions, lack of confidence, unfamiliar legal terminology, and different learning speeds. Instructors can reduce these barriers by creating a welcoming environment, encouraging participation, simplifying complex concepts, and using practical Arizona real estate examples.